That's right. Hi ho, Silver, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And Monkey?
And welcome to the penultimate chapter of Season 1 of Ronald McDonald's Wacky Retrospective.
What are you talking about? Season 1?
Well, Season 1, as far as, we can definitely, Monkey, you can vouch for me on this. There is more weird McDonald's shit we could get into beyond these VHS tapes.
I'm sure there is.
I'm sure there is.
Like obviously, I mean, I guess old commercials like when Grimace was evil and saying, "Doe, where's the Coke?"
No, I mean there's the really cool play places and McThriller.
Oh, yeah.
There's I don't know. I think there's outlets that we could get into. Maybe
Well, I just
maybe
wanted to
Happy
be
Meal
sure
toys.
Just want to be under the impression
We can sneak into a McDonald's kitchen, hide as a stove or something. We're dressed as a stove to watch them at work.
All right. Well, look, I'm not saying that season 2 is inked in writing yet, but I'm saying there's potential if we want to do it, anyways. So, sorry. Go ahead, Dragon. Sorry.
I meant just to want to make sure we're not under the misnomer that there's more of these episodes. This is not
no, yeah.
I'm saying when you say season, that's where the jump would be. This is like a series of some kind, of which it's a series of tapes, but that's the end of the rainbow.
That's what fanfic is for.
Right.
All right. So we've got McCheese.
Yeah, not just McCheese. We got Mayor McCheese. We got a burger with authority, folks.
Not just Mayor McCheese. We have Edwin Mayor McCheese. Not just Edwin Mayor McCheese. We have Edwin Mayor McCheese.
So you know who should play
Disco. Oh,
God. Who should play him in the show, right?
Alan Tudyk, naturally.
Yes, Alan Tudyk. Yeah,
naturally.
Be great.
Yeah. Yeah, meanwhile, this thing doesn't go with the obvious choice. Let's see. We have an Edwin character. We have Corey Burton in our cast. We'll have someone else play the Edwin character.
Yeah, it's odd. It's odd. The casting is all over the place in this one.
I mean, still well cast. Good old Bob Joels.
Okay, so Z and K, just going to read off a couple of his comments here. He says, much like Captain Crook, there's another missed opportunity with not having Franklin's father be another forgotten McDonald's character. The Professor. Any thoughts on that,
Not
Dragon
wrong.
or Monkey?
Yeah, not wrong.
Well, yeah, we've had a couple missed opportunities again, much like Captain Crook, and we had the kind of the one-eyed Betty. I think her name was something. It was
One-eyed Sally.
Sally, yes, thank you. Yeah, we had one-eyed Sally. A couple episodes back. So yeah, it does not surprise me that we kind of left some money on the
fun
table.
if One-Eyed Sally was Captain Crook's sidekick or vice versa.
That'd be really funny, yeah.
Just work in Captain Cook into that, because I still enjoyed One-Eyed Sally as a character.
Yes, and Z and K, Corey Burton's in this? You got it, buddy.
He is. Oh, yeah.
He's the bug.
Corey Burton's in everything, man. He's stealth mode.
Yeah, there's a bunch of voiceover talent in this. You got Corey Burton, Bob Joels, Bill Farmer,
Jeff Bennett.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't tell if that lead knight is Jeff Bennett or Bob Joels.
Yeah, no, that sounds like Bennett.
It's Bennett.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, Bob Joels. I mean, goddamn, that guy is quietly just a big icon.
I learned the latest dance craze, the hustle. You see the excellence of this invention.
Okay, well, I love McCheese. We're gonna kind of build to him, but suffice to say, he was amazing. All right, let's see this video. Let's see. Yeah, we're pointing out the voices here. Would I toin on the stove? Is theme park fans inside it? I'm sorry, Z&K, I'm not quite sure.
Someone brought up the crazy idea of dressing up like stoves, so this is what we get. So I have no idea what to make of that.
Oh, there we go. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, Dragon, I'm going to throw it to you. What did you think of Have Time Will Travel?
Yeah, so I gotta be honest, looking back on this, because I always, Bertie was always the eye catcher of the bunch, but I completely forgot. This one was really good. I think this might be the best of the bunch. I had never seen the last one we're going to come across, but I'd be hard pressed to think could be wrong here, that it's going to be better than this one. I thought this very straightforward. It's a time travel adventure, something that really captivated me in my youth. I know for sure. This, of course, it's so funny that we have our bumpers that are very similar to Back to the Future, the animated series, in which you have like the live action segments with the actual person. Then we have the animated kind of follow through. Only I believe we do keep the same Ronald doing the voice. But so I don't know. It's just kind of it's kind of ironic. We have a time travel episode, given we kind of borrowed a lot from Back to the Future with the structure. It's me, I got a lot of nostalgia for Cyber Chase, which of course is it's not specifically time travel, but it's kind of like we're going through like it's kind of time travel in terms of we have different eras in the game and different locations and such, in which we go Roman times to kind of like a throwback to the '60s ultimately, and prehistoric times as well.
Just to clarify, you're talking about Scooby-Doo and the Cyber Chase, not like PBS Cyber Chase.
No, yeah, I mean Scooby-Doo Cyber Chase.
Okay,
that's specifically.
Yeah,
yes.
I am seeing the similarities. That is eerie.
So I mean, because of that, I think perhaps maybe there's like a kind of a seated like kind of interest in it, like, oh yeah, it's kind of like the Scooby-Doo Cyber Chase thing. Yeah, only this time it's legit time travel, and we're moving in a linear fashion. It's kind of a progression, sort of like almost platformer-esque kind of like way of storytelling, kind of nice. It's about the journey home, and for me, I really like the going to the Old West and the disco portion.
Well, of course we like the disco portion, Dragon. We all love the disco portion.
Yeah.
Monkey, I believe you have some nostalgia for this thing, right?
Oh yeah. I had these videos like when I was young. Like certainly, I know the third one was my first. I think it would have been for me. It would have been like 3, 4, 5, and then 1 and 2. So I would have seen. So this episode would have been my introduction to Franklin's father. So, so whenever I eventually saw Scared Silly, it's like, oh, so this is their origin. This is how their actual reveal. Huh. Well, I already know who they are. So, but yeah, it's definitely a thing I've known. I don't know what it says about me, and I'm not sure I want to know what it says about me. That there have been at least 2 cases in my life where I look at a character and think like they got an ass like cartoon Ronald. And the second one of those was Captain EO.
Oh no!
I'm sorry.
God.
I'm sorry. I think I misheard you. What was that?
No, you didn't miss.
I'm not going to repeat myself.
Yeah.
So I'm not crazy. He said the thing.
Yeah. You didn't mishear him.
Wholesome times.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I know there was like a point, like maybe some point in the early-ish, maybe mid-10s, where I looked back at these videos. So yeah, it's now I guess looking at them again thanks to you. And I'm thinking, like, I'm not saying, I don't know if this would be my favorite of them, but I'm probably not worst of them. It's well, I can't judge them entirely. Whatever the hell I'm saying. But yeah, this has its stuff. This has its stuff.
Yeah, so obviously I'm stoked for the McCheese of it all. We will get there. But I agree with Dragon as far as, like, I do think it is a very nice kind of linear story, which I feel like some of the other McDonald's stuff, especially Birthday World, honestly. That thing, it was fun, but it was really all over the place as far as the plot line went. This is...
Franklin actually has a role.
Yeah. Ironically enough, I would say Franklin is probably one of the main characters of this one, just because of...
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, just all the different time periods. It's basically like everything you want in a time travel thing. You got some medieval, you got some dinosaurs, you got some disco, you got some dinosaur disco.
Yeah, Kingdom of the
you got some
Dinosaurs
Old
definitely
West.
comes to mind.
You've got some dinosaurs in the Old West. All right, I'm done.
Well, that's just Big Thunder Mountain's finale.
Well, that's not accurate at all.
I think this is where I first heard that dinosaurs and cavemen weren't around at the same time.
Also, I really like that in this episode, I noticed that the humor is starting to call itself out for being so dumb and not making sense. I have noticed that before. Like for example, Hamburglar will call out poor Christine Cavanaugh for being a terrible singer. Sorry, Christine. I love you. I really do. God bless her soul, but man, that singing's rough.
Did she never have a good song?
In Rugrats, I don't know. Like,
I'm not saying. I mean, Chucky, not really. I don't.
well,
think
I mean,
really
Chucky
sang.
had the "Here Comes Chucky's Chan" song.
Well, he didn't
but
sing that though.
yeah, he didn't sing that. Yeah.
Occasions of Chucky singing, I could see it being maybe a thing where it was more of a character voice that maybe could have worked with the song. I'm just conjecturing or whatever.
I'm saying, Chuck usually had dialogue in the songs, barely really singing, so I don't really.
Right,
again, it's like
right.
singing as a character, even. So I don't really think it was like kind of like singing.
ZK, I do agree that the medieval segment went on too long.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, that was a bit, say, lopsided.
I feel like every time travel story, we spend too long in one particular place and it starts to lull. I feel like that's a common trapping in time travel stories.
Well, most, but sure.
I said
this should have been one of the time travel movies that Rhodey mentioned in Endgame.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh God.
Then Ant-Man would have said Mac and me, and that would have just. Oh wait, no, it's not time travel story at all. Yeah.
So, did they rip off Big Comfy Couch at the beginning with the clock?
You know, it's so funny. We actually mentioned that a few episodes back.
Yeah,
there's,
right.
There's always kind of a big comfy couch kind of esque vibe to like, the restructuring of things. You know, it's kind of
Dragon. I also kind of saw the mask thing that you threw out last episode. I can kind of see that more clearly. Just with the way, you know, what felt very mask-like to me actually was the whole gag where, oh God, Ronald is, it's just very much wordplay. It's at the beginning.
Oh, you mean the clocks?
All the time stuff?
Yeah, all the time stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I do love I really enjoyed that. They have like this whole wall of clocks, and it's like time to do this and time to do. He knows what each clock is signaling. So in general,
no. I'll tell you what felt like the mask specifically was the news broadcast about time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when he's interviewing himself. Well,
yes. That very much felt like the mask.
Sure.
And then as long as we're talking other properties, 30 seconds to Adventure Time, Ronald.
yes, I did notice that.
Well, what's the other property there?
And then like
Adventure
Ronald
Time.
is just like a millennial kid, and he's like, "All right, Adventure Time, let's go."
Sunday the dog and Ronald the McDonald.
All right, so when we open things up, I love that we do
Ronald the clown and Sunday the dog. The fun will never end. Adventure Time.
If I may, with the format they take in this latter half of it, where Ronald's like, "Oh, the time we did that," so you could quip that. Oh, so now it's the main episode is like a Family Guy cutaway. This is worse than the time I went time traveling with Ronald McDonald. Okay,
yeah, I'm glad
Peter.
You bring that up, Dragon, because Monkey, Dragon Monkey did bring that up in the comments for last episode too. What do you think of that? Just the whole idea that it technically could be an extended Family Guy cutaway, because the whole thing is, this reminds me of this.
You're asking me or him?
I'm asking you.
I just want to make sure
I brought it up
because you kind of brought up different names during that question.
I stumbled over myself. I'm sorry.
All right. Yes. With the new structure at play, it is very much like the adventure happened, and we're kind of coming in at the end of it. So I see it less as like a cutaway, but I absolutely see how it can be kind of seen like that, where the whole thing is kind of an extended. Basically, it's an extended flashback in the form of a well kind of composed clip. One could say it's like the lengthiest clip ever. It's like a 40-minute clip.
If this were a Family Guy cutaway, Peter would have eaten the giant burger before the dinosaur could get to it.
Yes. So something I want to mention with the opening at the top is I love we do a little homage to Harold Lloyd. The whole safety last little clock dangling thing. It's like, oh, somebody save me! He just drops it.
I get the reference now that I'm older.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
it's like all we're playing with time, making a lot of time puns. He has time on his hands when he's like freezing the clocks through mid juggle. Like that's all nice thing. I love him running that little treadmill. Start the adventure. But yeah, so the opening is the opening's pretty solid. Yeah.
We see Bertie with a real bird. Or a regular bird.
Right. Yeah, it's eerie when you think about that. Especially we try to eat Bertie.
Yeah, can I just I do not like the mechanics of the animals in this world at all. I just don't.
I mean,
the fact that they're all on horseback too, that bothered me.
Well, it's not like they had sentient horses, though.
I know, but they do have sentient animals.
I'm saying you're not wrong in that. Like exceptions should have been made.
Also,
right?
remember the bizarro random buff squirrel that showed up for like one gag in the first episode?
How can I forget?
So you never know. There might be like a buff horse running around somewhere.
I mean, that's the thing. I feel like they should have made certain exceptions. Like, okay, in this universe, we don't show birds because clearly we have Bertie, but we can have horses.
But they failed at that.
Yes, Tiki.
I mean, I'm just saying, is it that good of an idea to have Hamburglar in the same room as Mayor McCheese?
In retrospect, no, it isn't. But then again, think about it. Hamburglar, not the cheeseburglar. So the mayor exception.
Oh, I like that loophole. I like that loophole.
Now, I don't know. You'll notice we do not see Officer Big Mac in this, and maybe there's a reason for that.
Oh, God.
The Big Macs have cheese, too, don't they?
Do they? I don't think they do.
Yeah, they technically do.
Yeah, 12 beef patty, special sauce, lettuce, cheese.
Well, there goes there goes my dark theory then.
Okay, yeah, Z&K, you're right. He says another example of calling the tropes out jokes is Sunday's "What is it with you and the gang going on adventures?"
That was really funny.
I'm so glad you bring that up because really, I literally I went back after I watched this episode from podcast. I went back and I was like, okay, that was fun, but wait, I forget. Why are they cleaning the lab? Why'd they end up at Franklin's place?
It was very much Ronald just saying, hey, let's go on an
adventure. It was literally just very, very, very literally just Ronald being, let's go on an adventure.
Admittedly, while the episode is very short,
there are episodes of Flapjack that have more depth to why they're going on an adventure than this.
Yeah, we need fancy pants. So that's
we have to fill out this video somehow, Sunday.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Now, while it's, that's the thing. While the episode is very linear and does flow really nicely, getting us there is the whole clean the lab thing, a little bumpy, a little much. Okay,
can I just say, I think it's outstanding that we peak on Mayor McCheese, and then we get a full 6 minutes after they get back to the present day, where we have a cleaning the lab reprise.
They get to reuse the animation again.
Cleaning the Lab was such a great song that we need a reprise of it.
Well, I think less the song. I think the dumber thing is well, if the father's just going to come and say, you know what? I had second thoughts. You didn't need to clean the lab at all.
It's
really?
So
thanks.
dumb.
It's really? Thanks,
it makes
Father.
It so anticlimactic.
Really?
But I will say this is a lot of fun, but the last 5 or 6 minutes of this is kind of a wet fart, honestly. It just kind of ends after the McCheese bit, as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, it really is just it's an anticlimax in the sense of really, Father of the Year here. You couldn't have just maybe I should make my kid, waste the day. Maybe you could really. You're gonna make him you're gonna take that long to reach that decision. You're not just gonna tell him that way earlier, and then you would have avoided this whole mess and just gone on the adventure, just of your own volition. No.
Z&K says the reprise should have been sped up by 1.2% to or 1.20% to add tension.
Okay. Well, what was it? This whole thing about cleaning up the lab. I feel like there's a Breaking Bad reference in there somewhere.
Oh, God.
Clip in there somewhere. Also, the actual McDonald's restaurants, this should be how they clean up. You just convince all the guests, all the customers to clean up the place.
Oh my God, it's literally like the Tom Sawyer whitewashing the fence thing.
I mean, I'd say it's more comfy couch than it is let's band together our restaurant tours.
What, you're halfway, 3/4 through your meal? No,
Z&K, get up, let's clean. Shout out Z&K.
It's a bit of a stretch.
Sorry, I will shout out Z&K, and Rob knows this because I sent him in the group some funny clips of this. Yeah, playing around with this series on different speed levels on YouTube, it can be a fun time, and it can lead to kind of a rabbit hole.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm with you, Z and K.
Yeah, that can be a thing with other things as well. Like I know I discovered that with that old stop motion Curious George video. But yeah, that that George thing, that's a thing where Corey Burton got to do his Edwin voice, and that what is that from like the 80s? Oh well.
Okay, so y'all want to recount some of these? One more thing about cleaning the lab, just an offhand joke I have about it.
Yeah.
Frankly, I'm not even really lying about it. It's the kind of song that makes me yearn for the days of it's time to set up camp.
Yeah, the yearn for the days about 2 weeks ago.
Now, as far as
Greg and I'm old, nostalgia comes fast and hard now in my life.
Yeah.
That time when I looked back, however many years ago at this series, a way you could sum it up was, I don't always look back at the wacky adventures of Ronald McDonald, but when I do, I skip the songs.
Okay, so yeah, the dinosaur stuff. What do y'all think of that?
Before
dinosaurs, dino DNA.
Before we go in further, I just want to mention with the vehicle design, yet again, Time Machine, the kind of little chamber room design looks rather nice. I like that.
Naturally, they would make an awesome time machine in this series. I feel like this series in cool vehicles is kind of its bread and butter.
I like how cozy it feels, almost like you could find it in a play place as you walk in there.
That is the aesthetic for this whole series when it comes to the production design is play place, and I dig that. Yeah. I dig how consistent it is.
Yeah.
So I have a question about Hamburglars' thought process here. So we'll go to the future when the chores will already be behind us.
Yes.
But if you're leaving chores undone now, won't they still be undone when you get back?
Last I checked, Hamburglar did not finish college.
Your mom went to college.
What?
That's from Napoleon Dynamite. Haven't you people watched Napoleon Dynamite?
I think I saw one of the first episodes or two of the cartoon.
You people haven't fucking watched Napoleon
Dynamite? I've seen to be fair, it's an obscure pull, all right?
It's not that obscure of a pull. All right.
It's not like the Pedro line or anything. You're going like your mom went to college. That could have been the kid from King of the Hill for all I know.
All right. Didn't land. I'm sorry. Moving on.
Anyway. So, yes.
Why am I picturing the dinosaur from this in college?
I have no idea.
So one of the things that I noticed about this that kind of threw me off as far as the logic of the world, some of the time periods have analogs for the McDonald Land crew, some don't.
Well, only one of them really did.
Yeah.
Actually, in the West as well, but that was
the West had the analog, and then the really disturbing thing was in the medieval times when they're starting to turn into does that imply that I don't know does that imply that the people in the I know I'm thinking too hard about this stupid promotional cartoon. I know I am, but does that imply that the people that are in the primeval time are technically maybe they are their time travels from another timeline who went back and now being in the primeval time turned them into Neanderthals?
These are versions of them who didn't retrieve the time machine.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I'm just saying with the logic of what we see the stakes being with the medieval stuff and how they're slowly turning into the medieval versions of themselves. I don't know.
I guess that would explain the Mick prefix being around in the Stone Age.
But it's just a theory. A McDonald's theory.
Yeah, it is an interesting theory for sure, but I mean, looking at it, I'm pretty sure the direct idea is they're just getting wrapped up in kind of the theatricality of the medieval times. I don't think it's if you stay there too long, you're gonna you're going to become it. But it is a heady idea, though, so it's kind of fun to theorize that it could be like a tangent timeline that's just going to come to pass. It's kind of like how there's
basically the way I read it was that the longer you stay in the timeline, you kind of like cement yourself within the timeline, if that makes sense.
No,
that's the one they stay in the longest.
Exactly.
Oh.
Yeah.
Call Matt Pat, folks. Call Matt Pat.
I just picture like they
imagine
stayed too
Matt
long
Pat
in the
actually made
70s.
an
What would they
episode out
turn
of
into
this?
anti-war protesters? Sorry.
So Z&K says that they're turning medieval themselves just felt so off, comes out of nowhere. And Ronald, the smart one, being the one not getting it, made him seem a lot stupider. Yeah.
Who chance me thinks?
How does it make him feel dumber, though? He's not falling prey to the whole thing.
I don't know. I don't really get that. I agree.
But the important thing is there's a medieval times not far from where McThriller was.
Yes, there is.
Before we jump to the medieval times, can I finish on the prehistoric times?
Absolutely.
So, of course, for me, I had a lot of nostalgia with the prehistoric times because I had with the whole they get eaten by the giant dinosaur, brought me back to nostalgic throwback of the Back to the Future ride, where you get eaten, but the time machine gets eaten a bit.
I think Back to the Future, the ride is the quintessential vehicle getting eaten by something.
Yeah. So I don't know.
What about Storybook Land?
That doesn't really count just because it's not really happening in any sort of predatory kind of way.
Although that is a physical space.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I do call BS on this giant burger plan. It's the whole wait, what about the teeth? They're gonna there's a version of this episode, dark version of this episode, this plan goes horribly wrong and they're all mangled terribly.
And dinosaur doesn't chew, and even there's so many ways that this could have gone wrong. I
would say the fact the dinosaur moments ago when he's threatening the Hamburglar, he's got teeth, and he just gums the burger down. That's they lucked out majorly there. I mean, I'm glad.
I guess Ronald was right to assume that this dinosaur ran on monstro biology.
I do love how he pumped up the burger with the little bike pump. I thought that was really funny, and I love the costuming and all of our time travel regalia here. I think that looked really good. I love we have the hidden McDonald's logo on the caveman Ronald, and Rumfeld McDumfeld. And his
that was great.
Outfit.
That was great.
I do question. Here's some time travel logic for you. I do question Franklin's ancestor being there because why would he necessarily be there? The other McDonald's bunch I get, but why would the random kid be there historically?
Well, because Tika was in the shower,
and then you have Ronald McDonald, who is just technically a dude in clown makeup.
Wait a minute. I just thought of something. Just looking at the lore of this series, so. They have Grimace here in caveman times.
Mm-hmm.
Is this pre-Grimace Island?
Well, let's see. So Grimace Island essentially is, it's some
whenever the separation of Grimace Island happened. I'm saying separation of Grimace Island like it was an actual event in a story.
Right, Monkey. It was a tragic event. You should show her.
Yeah, like the Battle of Yavin or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Monkey, all their treasure was taken, and they didn't even say thank you.
But yeah, I get it.
How is that not the saddest thing you've ever heard?
There's layers. Just like the onions they put on the burgers, there's layers. But
also, speaking of burgers, can I just address one kind of weird rule that we see with Hamburglar?
What?
Apparently he's allowed to steal burgers within McDonald land, but that law goes away when he travels outside of McDonald land.
Well, you know what I read it as?
Honestly, that seems fair. He's taking stuff out of the timeline. The ancient one explained it.
Well, the way I read that is basically it's Ronald McDonald again. He's kind of the founder of the land, so it was okay. I'm not going to prosecute the Hamburglars. Okay, I'm trying to reform him. I'm weaning him off, that sort of thing. So basically, there's no consequence if he does in McDonald's land because then I'll fix it. I'll make sure he gets counseling or do community service or something. But here we're in the Old West. They're going to kill him. They're going to hang him. It's not going to be pretty. I don't want to hey man, don't steal the burgers in a place where you do not have diplomatic immunity. Essentially, don't do it.
Yeah,
essentially. But yeah, let's say so medieval times. I can do love designs like Ronald in the tights. It looks really good. The idea that Ronald McDonald kind of helps save the day as a court jester is a really fun idea.
That is a really fun idea for a time traveling Ronald McDonald thing for sure.
The moment of Ronald, medieval Ronald barging in and shouting, "Disorder in the court! Disorder in the court!" They should do that in the actual stores.
God.
Or better yet, we have them do that at Burger King.
Oh my
Ronald McDonald crash Burger King and just like says, "Disorder in the Burger King's court! Disorder!"
Okay, I could actually see them doing that for social media reasons in this day and age, honestly.
Yeah.
Just the King and Ronald McDonald just going on a full-on TikTok war with each other.
Do you think they've ever had like a thing where they're probably like beating the crap out of each other, like people in costumes, like in the representing like the mascot war, just like having a guy dressed like Ronald McDonald and a guy dressed like the Burger King?
I don't know, dude. Probably at some point. I don't know.
Kicking the crap out of each other.
That's the thing for the McCheese show.
Sure.
The McCheese show has like an underground fight club.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Jen, you might want to turn on the news. Yeah. So, Burger King, aka Abomination, was shown escape from prison in an underground fight club. Topical.
Yeah.
The Burger King 7 soulmates.
Okay. So, let's see. So Bertie's
Bertie's kidnapped, and when I've looked at this like all those years ago, it's like, and the knight's like, "His Royal Highness hath been in a royal funk." And it's like, did he say royal fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This leads to I think this cheering up the king song is maybe the worst. Like maybe not as bad as the Grimace Island song, but maybe besides that special little piece of terror, probably the worst song in this whole series. I really did not like this song at all.
I thought it was maybe one of the stronger ones in this episode.
Really?
Maybe.
Oh, at least it
try
wasn't
to break the tie.
Well, if I can get a word in edgewise, I'll try. So yeah, it's like the not so different the not so different musical number was just really repetitive, and this one it was just pretty much like, hey, we're entertaining the king. It's not a lot of real. I don't know. I don't think really any of the songs.
And then the Lab song is especially repetitive.
That's the thing. So I don't really think any of the music was doing the special any favors. So
I will say that I think across the line, I think this was probably the worst music in any of the episodes.
Really, that bad?
Fair to say?
Would you say that?
I'd have to go back through all the others to say. Like the only ones I've watched in full since I started this were 3, 4, and this one.
Man, well, I'm saying
Island was at least more memorable, I think.
Yeah, so I just want to call that earlier. So Bertie gets kidnapped, and essentially it's like we entertain that we're going to eat Bertie here. We're going to actually cook her up like the
Yeah, that shot of her like looking at the queued up wing drumstick.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the McNuggets aren't in this.
I thought that was a good choice. Honestly, I was getting a little tired of the McNuggets. Just all they do is like dance around the little boots. That's all they really do.
Literally, they're just little Vegas dancers.
Yeah, that's it. There's little kind of like
the imagery that brings to mind.
Yeah, little
but that's what they are, though. That's how they're.
I'm not saying you're wrong. And then and they keep switching voices as well.
Yeah. We'll make nuggets.
Who said? I literally, I had some McNuggets the other day, and I put this both on Twitter and I messaged it to Tiki. I filmed a little thing of the McNuggets just sitting in the box, and I'm like, who says McNuggets don't have rhythm?
Also, what do y'all think of Franklin being in the episode Sans Tika for a second time?
I thought it was, I think it was probably a good choice. If we're being frank, I think Tika probably, at least Franklin has like a dad with like a scientific tie, where Tika's just like random kid who has like, the most defining characteristic we've given her. We've only had her like really in about 2 of these things, and the other one she really gets turned to a baby for the majority and gives Ronald McDonald
right, yeah.
So it's just basically like, I just wanted to scare the crap out of people because I didn't want to say hi to them. So not really much to her character. Where then again, Franklin, I can't really say glowing praises about him in the first episode.
I mean,
but
it's not like Franklin's like this great character, but you're right. At least from a plot point of view, I feel like he's,
Franklin has parental ties.
yeah, sure.
I guess it's
I
who
will
he
agree with
knows.
ZK that it makes a lot more sense here than it did with Grimace Island. With Grimace Island, he genuinely felt out of place.
Yeah.
Was it? ZNK made an interesting point before this started, but I hadn't quite realized. Like, I knew that Andrei Stojka, I'm not sure how you say the last name, I knew that was him as the chef, but I guess I'd forgotten that he was the professor in the old commercials, so that was a bit of a missed opportunity.
Sure.
Yeah, the voice of Al wanting to cook a bird.
Let's see. Oh yeah, you know what was really funny? The medieval stuff. That was really funny. I'm so charmed by Grimace. You know, he tries to ride the horse, but he's too big, so he ends up letting the horse ride. Like,
oh my god, that was adorable. That was fucking adorable.
That was so lovely.
Also, can we
and then
just
later
like,
with the you can say that again, and he says it again. He's like, well, I knew I was going to do that.
I feel like at this point, objectively speaking, Kevin Michael Richardson as Grimace is like by far the best thing about this series.
I could see that being the case, yeah.
Yeah, like I think he has easily been the MVP throughout all of this.
Tell you what I didn't care for is... No, I'm sorry,
Do you remember the 90s version of Dungeons, and More Dungeons on Gravity Falls? Like, with the, oh, you dare challenge probabilitizzle? I love that he did the Grimace voice for probabilitizzle, essentially.
right. I know what you're talking about, yeah. Greg, you were saying?
Yeah, I didn't. That's that one that I didn't care for. I agree with you to your earlier point. Like, yeah, it does go on for too long, and something doesn't help. It's like, okay, we bail. We should have done is like, okay, we bail Bertie out of the jam, like the little kind of court jester routine and a bad song. We should have been out of there. Instead, it's like somehow this doesn't make any sense. We pull on the kid's cape, and he ends up in his underpants, and it's like a weird choice. And it's like, why?
Yeah, that's why I was a bit more unsure of if I'd be here.
Yeah, so that was just kind of an odd. Again, it seemed like, okay, we're doing a pantsing gag, and again, it feels like, wouldn't that be more like the clown with his pants falling down, like kind of a court jester sort of thing? But I don't know, it's just kind of a weird
King
choice.
King is a child, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. The king's a child.
Yeah,
that's the whole
I
gag.
never really delved on that.
Yeah, it's just overall, it just feels like this is the kind of stuff that extends it unnecessarily, and is just a weird choice. It just feels like, hey, that's what's in right now. So no.
Yes, getting pantsed.
Yeah, I do love how we get out of the dungeon, though. I love that Ronald does.
Does anyone know if getting pantsed is like a big part of like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid series or anything like that?
I don't think it is.
I'm going to say
I remember
no.
that ends up being a sort of a pivotal climactic moment in the third book when his pants accidentally fall down and he's hanging from a tree, but that's not quite the same thing. So I don't think that was really a thing in there.
Yeah, because I am kind of with you. Like, I'm trying to think of like why they would even decide to do a joke like that.
I mean, there have been pants and gags in cartoons. I just don't know if it's been like consecutive.
I think Malcolm in the Middle did it at the water park. So,
well, that's kind of more of a different situation, sure. All right. So let's see. What was it? Oh, right.
But yeah, the way he goes changes with the room. It's like, I think earlier my mind was sort of like, well, Ronald, he's got magic. Could he not just, Doctor Strange portaled him out of there? And then he moves the room around like it's the Mirrorverse or something.
Yeah, which is great. He's using the magic shoes to basically walk the room. And they kind of,
the McMultiverse of madness.
Oh yeah,
sure. All right. So
this summer, Ronald McDonald is Pizza Papa.
Oh, God.
Good. It was like that brief summer where McDonald's had pizza. Didn't they have pizza like pizza?
Yeah, it was very brief. Yeah.
Oh, they did have pizza. Okay, I'm not crazy.
I think like early 2000s, I remember glancing like some McDonald's inside of Boomers that had pizza on the menu.
I remember briefly for a summer they had hot dogs and they had the brownie sundae. The brownie sundae was excellent.
I think the big one in Orlando has pizza. Maybe slightly more artisan pizza-ish, but yeah.
There's one McDonald's that fascinates me. It's a McDonald's that's a diner.
Okay, you see, these are the kinds of McDonald's that I would be down to like talk about in a potential wacky retrospective season 2, honestly.
Right.
You know, the McDonald's in Italy has like a gelato thing. So
Have you ever heard of Not So Standard McDonald's?
What?
Is that what it's called?
Not So Standard McDonald's. It's like this Twitter account that would put up like pictures of different unusual
Oh
McDonald's.
no!
I
but
saw
that-
like a
that sounds
documentary
like
on
a
it. I
good
didn't.
follow.
Saw
Or
a
like
document-
they're trying to make a documentary currently. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I saw this like this special like Travel Channel or something about it. So that's what I meant by documentary. But yeah, it's cool they're making a documentary about all the weird McDonald's. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so we go with the Old West. Now I love me when we go to the Old West and time travel stuff. So we have so I love the cowboy attire, and I love that we finally in all these we really full on address like the Hamburglars, you know, his namesake, which like, it's the Hamburglars. You know, we're not McDonald's land, so you don't, you know, again, you're not really going to get a pardon this time. So it's, all right, I'm putting them back. And then we have this awesome idea that the Hamburglars' ancestry is outlaws and burger thieves. So he's like the town is going after him, thinking he's like his great grandfather or something. And
Yeah, familial version of Dread Pirate Roberts.
sure. It really bothers me we don't call out the whole like, wait a minute, he had a mustache. You could have shaved. Like we don't have that line in there.
That would have been good.
Yeah, it's like no, here's the proof. He has that mustache. Like that doesn't prove anything. He could have shaved. Yeah.
I wonder where the actual Henry H. Burglar II was.
He's probably enjoying his spoils. He's probably eating burgers.
Maybe he was at the burlesque house. I don't know. Whatever they had in the West.
Well, he could be at a hideout.
So what?
Okay. Idea. For just some limited time, replace Sad-Eyed Joe with Henry H. Burglar II.
I'm down. I'm sorry. One thing I do like about this, the old Western segment, is I feel like unlike the medieval section, it really doesn't overstay its welcome. Old West is something that we've seen time and time again with time travel. We've kind of, and this is basically just like a really quick get in, get out, greatest hits of the Old West, and then we're done. I appreciate the pacing of it.
I really like that Grimace saves the Hamburglar, and he's really grateful to him. He's saying, "Thanks, big guy. Oh yeah, for what?" Yeah, it's adorable.
Yeah, you know that sequence where Grimace sets off the whole chain of events with the chandelier falling. You know, watching movies has been never quite the same ever since I recently watched all the Final Destination movies.
Oh,
this
God.
scene is no different.
I forgot you did that marathon. That was not a marathon I was expecting you to do.
It's the
Yeah, so it's like Final Destination movies where like some little thing will set off all these other little things that ends with, you know, a character dying some spectacular way. So like
basically the
Grimace
Rube
knocks
Goldberg
over the
death.
bottle, which sends the thing, which I know the chandelier falls on them.
So it's death by Rube.
The Grimace of the opera.
The death by Rube Goldberg.
Yeah. And yes, I have had McDonald's right after Phantom on more than one occasion. Nearby.
They could have pulled a great cookie thief. I don't know what that
Great
means.
Cookie Thief?
I don't really know what that means. All I know is the great cookie is like there's a cookie place where that sells cookies. That's kind of a cute reference. I don't know. I don't really get the correlation myself. I'm just kind of reading this comment here. It's like, yeah, great cookie thief. I don't know. It's kind of all these sorts of like a coalition of food thieves.
That would be a great short or something.
Yeah, or like a support group for
some kind of Ocean's 11 type thing.
Oh God!
I'm thinking the Ocean's 11's not bad. I was
You
just
got
thinking
the
more
Hamburglar. You've got the Noid.
yeah. I was thinking of something more simple, like here's your you do Ocean's 11, then your sequel.
Would the Trix Rabbit be involved in this? Probably.
Yes, he would be. So you have that, and then you basically have your first movie is Ocean's 11, and your sequel is them in prison, just having like the little therapy session about we're just getting over our addictions here. Yeah.
Okay, so Z and K has an answer. Dragon, would you like?
Okay.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So the great obvious Cookie Monster is like kind of a Western thief, and he gets out of it by drawing a mustache on the poster. Oh, it's nice.
That's clever.
Nice, yeah, cool. That's a good.
Later plagiarized by Marge Simpson.
Yeah, that's a deep cut, Z and K. So thanks for explaining it, but it is a good pull.
Yeah. All right, so pointing Old West briefly, Grimace saves the day, and then we hit to the most important part of the whole
Oh my God.
special.
You know, the best part about that deal McDonald's and the Disney parks had was McVidiopolis.
Yes. Oh God.
You know, I do long for the day where you can get McDonald's inside a Disney park. I really love those days. So
No. In all seriousness, those fry carts were fucking amazing, and
Yeah.
you got them
Arguably
fresh
better than the
every
fries at a
time.
regular
Great.
McDonald's.
I have a question about the fry cart. I wonder if you guys remember.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, I'm dying to know this. Did they offer sizes larger than small?
I think it was just one
Yes,
size.
it did.
You're sure they did? They offered like
Yeah.
a large.
I'm pretty sure.
Probably then the
Maybe
super
it was
size.
kind of
but-
like, maybe it was somewhat similar to like somewhere between medium and large.
Okay, but essentially they would have like.
Or
essentially-
dare I say it? I actually seem to remember at some point they still offered supersize after supersize was taken off the regular McDonald's menu.
Interesting. Cool.
This could just
And
be
of
like
course,
a false memory of mine, but
Yeah. Well, I'm just saying at the time.
And
Super
of
Size
course,
would-
that Spot and Roll showcase had McNuggets. So
Okay. Regardless, I long for those.
they should have
days.
a spot in the World Showcase where it's like McNuggets of all the different international barbecue or dipping sauces.
And they're all like little chorus dancers with tiny little legs and boots.
And of
speaking of,
course,
McDonald's in the parks, like that was a little bit of crossover of fandom whateverness there when Bertie's like, oh, I wonder if that T-Rex is Sue, the one they found recently, which is like a real dinosaur, and I guess like, which I recognize the name of more so for, I guess it's a replica maybe that they have at Animal Kingdom in Dino Land USA, which, hey, was sponsored by McDonald's for a while.
It was.
Yeah.
All right, so guys,
I
we're
like
burying
to-
the lead here. Mayor McFucking Cheese, he's here.
So it is really weird that we only Mayor McCheese, a big fixture of McDonald's Land, we used them so sparingly.
Fuck
but
it, I don't
apparently-
care. This is amazing.
I'm not saying it's a problem. I'm just pointing out.
Okay, I'm just saying this is amazing, and it's everything I ever wanted McCheese to be and more. When he pulled out that Ed Wynn voice, I lost it. I had not had it spoiled for myself that it was going to be an Ed Wynn voice.
Good.
And I was just floored. I was
Do you
so
know-
delighted.
Do you know what layer this adds to our McCheese show now?
Oh God, what?
Oh,
So
no.
two things. One, we have a voice for him. We have Alan Tudyk doing an Ed Wynn impression. But
Of
more
course, of
importantly,
course.
we have a setting. This it's a period show now. It's in the 70s.
Oh my God! Yes.
Well, also, here's the thing with the Ed Wynn voice. That's how the original character sounded.
Was it? Okay, I believe it.
Yeah, the
I
original
believe it.
character had an Ed Wynn type
Aw.
voice.
I believe
That
it.
makes sense.
That sounds right. So I love the wardrobe. I love the 70s setting. They're like, the burger and bell bottoms thing. He just looks great. I just love like how jovial he is about. I just learned this new dance called the hustle.
Dude, I just
What
I
what I particularly love is how kind of like unsettlingly close to the camera he is for the shot where he goes, the hustle.
the hustle.
I love how we animate
It's
him
so
because
close to the camera.
I love how we animate him because the cheese is like the mouth flap.
It's probably what it was kind of like in the original Lance as well. So.
Well, I mean that's the the original thing was like it was a costume that probably couldn't move with the mouth. I don't
Yeah,
imagine.
it's some sort of articulated mouth.
Hey, probably. I don't know if it was like as seamless as like the little cheese flap, but sure.
But I will wager to say that I definitely think that the folks who worked on this one had a reverence and a nostalgia for Mayor McCheese, and they wanted to make sure that he stood out in this. I think that's fair to say, right?
So it seems like the canon here is that McCheese. I wonder if McCheese is still around, like past the 70s. And apparently, Ron McDonald's been around to know who he is in the 70s. So that's
I mean, I
interesting.
could make a dark joke about like this is the 70s. He was the mayor, but he was also doing the disco circuit. There's drugs on the disco circuit.
Or maybe he was a Nixon type. Like, I am not a crook.
Well, we're doing the whole like political corruption thing. with
I
the-
hereby resign as the mayor of McDonald's Land. Gets in the helicopter.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we have the voice of McCheese. We have the setting of the disco. Monkey, is there anything that you would like to add to this McCheese stew of ours?
Well, if we're going strictly 70s, that could get a bit anachronistic. So does that matter?
Yeah, what do you got? We'll see.
Okay, just running down the list. maybe sort of Westboro type characters with the Chick-fil-A cows. Good. You remember when Del Taco had the Beast?
No.
Like some werewolf type guys, like feed the Beast.
I vaguely remember that.
Yeah, Thorn and him,
Yeah.
an actual character. The Noid, of course. We could go like maybe again, still obscure, get that old Pizza Head character that Pizza Hut used to have.
Mm.
Otherwise, the main thing was maybe in this universe, could we do a little historical in joke and maybe if like Ronald used to be a weatherman, and then McCheese or somebody plucked him out of obscurity. Like, I made you what you are.
What do you think of that, Dragon? I like the sound of that.
I mean, some of that I like. It kind of inspires some other stuff. Like perhaps we start the show in the 70s and there's a flashback structure to like the mayor riding high, and then the corruption starts in the 70s, and then in the modern setting, you have just like things have definitely he's kind of corrupt and looking back on what he's done. And he's now kind of courting this war again because we have like the mob at play and the whole McDonald's, like the whole the whole monopoly thing going on, and we have like the competition. The biggest competition they have right now is Chick-fil-A.
Yes.
And there might be like a whole like a dairy kind of like a dairy beef conspiracy going on of like it's like a cult or a farm or something.
Oh man, I
It's
love.
far back as I can remember. I always wanted to be a mayor.
Okay, Dragon, I'm gonna pose a challenge to you. All right.
What?
By the end of our final podcast for season 1 of the Wacky Retrospective, I want us to come up with a thrilling season 1 cliffhanger to our McCheese show.
God. All right.
I seriously think this McCheese thing has been one of the best running gags we've done in a while.
It's a great idea.
Taking it. Anyway, so after that awesomeness, like I already said, I think the special does unfortunately kind of taper off after that.
I'm sorry, before we move past the disco thing, I want to mention two bits.
Yeah, by all means, talk about the disco as much as you can.
2 bits.
All right. So one, I like how we get to the Old West end of the disco where we have like the little button. Well, I think it's how we get to the disco. We use like we've been using the wrong button, and Ronald pulls off the little like logo from his costume, and he makes that into the button. So that already that's really cool. But I love when they show it all
Branding really is magic.
Yes, it is. So they walk out, and you have all them the disco costumes. I think the best costume of all. Well, I like Ronald's. Grimace with an afro is just perfect.
Grimace with an afro is fucking amazing. Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Fantastic. It just look. We don't even have to address it. I just love that he just kind of has an afro. It's just hilarious. Like, we don't have a gag about it. It's just there, and they're all doing like when they leave, they're all doing a little disco dance. Well, they enter, and then when they enter and when they leave, they're doing a little disco dance. It's really nice.
As long as we're doing time travel back to the past, what if there was a thing where they were in like 50s or 60s or whatever, and they met Ray Kroc?
Oh God, that'd be. I mean, obviously, it would never happen for these purposes, but that would be fun.
Well, we know.
The one thing I was kind of hoping, like maybe, but I knew, it's probably not going to happen, is like a time travel segment back to like the original McDonald's land gang. So like the creepy Ronald with the cups.
Yeah, it's time to meet the boys and girls. Oh, we've already met. Actual line.
Yeah, exactly. Oh God.
I do really like the genuine camaraderie that Ronald has seeing Mayor McCheese. I don't know if the suggestion is McCheese isn't around, but it's like him seeing an old friend or like
Z&K says Z&K points this out. Actually, he says especially Ronald. It was great to see you again. Even if they were only allowed one shot to use him, it was just a delight. Yeah, totally agree, Z&K. So totally agree.
Yeah. I've always dug like the little kind of relationships between Ronald and his kind of McDonald's pal. So it's kind of like these like usually with him and Grimace, but him with McCheese seems like the oldest friend that he has. That assumingly is the co-founder of McDonald's.
You kind of get a sense, Dragon. I think you'll like this comparison. It's kind of like the Kermit and Rolf.
Yeah, sure. There you go. That's an excellent comparison. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Right. So
Mayor McCheese cover of You and I and George When.
You and I and George.
George. Fell in and drowned himself, don't you know?
Yeah, I loved Rolf on the Jimmy Dean show so much. Oh, it was so funny. I just love how he kept breaking up Jimmy Dean so hysterically. Anyway, so they head back. They finally get like, let's adjust the logo so it's kind of straight up, and it kind of points us true north, heads a little forward, and we're back. And then we do the thing where we got to clean up the lab again
because everyone was wanting a reprise of that song.
Well, the point is they're trying to have. Well, the point is they're trying to have the moral of like, okay, well, you can't, you got to do the work and then you earn the play. Is essentially what the moral is, and they want the kids to skip out and the whole like, yeah, just time travel, everything's gonna work out perfectly for it. Like, no, you got to pull elbow grease into it. Then life's not fair because Dad shows up. You know what? You didn't have to do any of that.
So can I just address that this dad, like 2 out of 2 times he's appeared, he's just a fucking terrible parent.
What was the egregious thing he did in the first episode?
The egregious thing he did in the first one was like after Franklin pulled a potentially life-threatening prank with, I might add, strangers that this guy doesn't know at all, including a full-ass grown adult in a clown costume. He's like, oh, sure, Franklin, but yeah, you can go to the woods. Sure, not a problem. I don't know these people at all, but sure, go into the woods with them.
Yeah.
And now it's like, yeah, let's go have some wacky time travel shenanigans.
Do you think on some
that
level
has such a Plasky Supo design?
He does.
Oh, it totally is. It totally is for sure.
Also,
it's very Chaz Finster.
Yeah, Chaz by way of Stu, some kind of mix, but also it's like, you know, the Maurice LaMarche voice for him. I can't unhear Scuttle.
Z&K points out there's especially sweet connection between Ronald, the mayor, and Big Mac because they were always the good guys from the start. Everyone was either a villain or neutral. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
Excellent.
Even Grimace was
Dean Wright, I would like to know what commercial you're referring to that used dialogue from it, because I want to shout out your comment. I'm just not quite sure what you mean. So if you could clarify that would be great before we sign out.
Yeah, let's see. So we got that little moment at the end with Grimace. Is like, I'm gonna sleep like a frog. I mean, log. I'll do that too. Everyone's like, oh, why are you laughing? Kind of cruel, but also kind of funny. Like, I imagine that's this. What if that was the start of like Grimace's Joker origin story?
Oh my god!
Do you want to know how I got these scars? Want to see a magic trick? Oh.
Yeah, let's see. What if that was a punishment Franklin's dad was just enforcing him? You know, I'm gonna you go with the very suspicious clown and his friends. That's what you get for using my stuff without asking. Go with them. See what happens.
That's funny.
Yeah, maybe that's.
Because you got to admit, if you don't know who Ronald McDonald is in the context of him, it's a bit sketch. No,
I'm trying to remember. Do they live in McDonald Land, or are they outside the borders of?
No, I think they're outside. They live in the far-flung forest. That is not in McDonald Land.
Yeah. Also, remember there were casualties in that first episode. The Fry Kids.
Exactly.
I think one of them walked by at the end, maybe, but.
Really?
Yeah, like when, I don't know, when Tika's apologizing or something.
Okay, I guess.
But then again, that's just one.
All right, well, at least 2 out of 3.
Maybe the time machine is made to punish Franklin. Like, build it up as like, okay, this is cool. We're gonna go on adventures, Franklin, and then just leave him in the prehistoric era or something for a while. Like, see you later. Wait, Dad, come back.
Yeah. And that's why he's with the other cavemen. Okay, Z&K says, yeah, the Fry Kids didn't actually die. Okay, well, there you go.
Not yet, they didn't.
Yep. All right.
So I'm waiting for clarification from Dean Wright, but I don't want to. We can pretty much sign out if he's not around.
So that promo at the end, huh?
Yeah, well, I mean, also we have like the coda where we have like the I love Ronald calling on the oversized phone when there's like a spare knight kind of like roaming around, like the time machine's on the phone.
That's where the old character from the Haunted Mansion went.
Right. Dragon, is it fair to say this is a bit of an upgrade from he sent the link. I'm sorry. Where's the link?
Well, no, remember, we can't see the link, so I don't think that you're not going to. So, yeah, Dean, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to receive a link that you posted. This doesn't work like that in the chat. But
yeah, you might just have to tell us what commercial it is.
yeah, tell us what it's
I'm
called,
guessing
and
maybe the first Ronald one.
tell us what it's called, and afterwards, when the video is done, maybe post the link in the comments. That not the live chat, but like the actual comments like that. And we'll definitely see. Otherwise, just tell us like. Okay. Oh,
the Not Talking Strangers commercial. Yeah.
There you go. Okay. Well, we'll
I
look
remember
into
that ad.
then.
Well, I haven't seen it, but I know what ad you're talking about.
So
yeah, I'm certainly anyway. Back to that promo. I'm definitely someone who's like, okay, here's that promo for the next video. Where's the next video? The next video never turned up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then finding out the whole deal years later about like, oh, apparently it was only sold online. Okay, that was never made.
It's the
clear.
dumbest thing ever, because I remember looking for that thing.
I eventually found it, again, back however long ago, like last decade, like finding it online and watching it once. So
I remember asking, I don't remember, I kind of was lost on me over the years, but I remember like I did on the regular ask about those tapes so I could get the whole set, and again with 6 coming out, I'm assuming I never got 6 for that reason.
It was such a mystery.
Mystery of the Loch Ness Monster, to be exact, but yeah.
The Legend of McDonald Land Loch.
Okay.
All right, I can play this commercial. It's only a minute long. You want to?
I could go either way.
Well, we're not going to see anything, but
No. But we can play the audio.
Yeah, I think I know what commercial you're referring to. So.
All right, fuck it. I'm just gonna play the audio.
Okay.
Hey, look who's skating. It's Ronald McDonald, a hamburger happy clown. Here he comes. There we go. Well, hi. Isn't that McDonald's hamburger delicious?
Mom told me never to talk to strangers.
Well, your mother's right as always, but I'm Ronald McDonald. Give me a McDonald's shake.
Well, you sound like Ronald.
Here, I'll prove it. I'll give you 3 more hamburgers.
Oh my god.
yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, I do too.
I know, you're not supposed to accept gifts from strangers either.
But you're no stranger. You really are Ronald McDonald.
Okay, song I'm gonna pause on.
That McDonald's shake part sounded so wrong audio only.
right.
Yeah,
All right,
Hamburglar would have loved that magic tray.
So does anyone have any final thoughts on this?
I mean, overall, yeah, I really dug this one, man. I liked it.
I think this is easily the best one out of the 5 so far, and I would be surprised if the weird Scottish one is better.
Yeah.
The series can be nice to revisit.
Okay.
Like a little bit of our history.
Indeed.
Childhood history.
All right, so big thanks to Dean Wright and Z&K for joining us in the chat. I really appreciate y'all both taking the time to come out and support us while we're doing this insane retrospective and rotting our brains potentially. And Monkey, big thanks for coming on. Happy to have you.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so we will be back next week with the big grand finale. And until then, folks, you know what goes good on a Mayor McCheese? Mustard!